Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Radiorama, where, as the name implies, I show you how to work on radios. And today we have, I don't know what it is. It says it's a Carlton. It's like a baby console. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this design is. It's got a very strange chassis. It looks like it's all in one piece, and I'm not sure what happens when you yank the bolts. I counted 4 tubes. 1, 2, there's one here, and there's one underneath this cover here, and I'm not sure if there's another one on the other side. Maybe there is. 4, possibly 5 tube unit. Condition is unknown. I don't know if it works or not. It looks like there's some writing on it over here. It says black, brown. I'm guessing that must be the speaker connections, maybe. It's got an antenna wire hooked up to it. That's a more recent electrical connector. So there's a possibility it still works. I don't know, but I'm not... What I'm going to do is I'm going to run it up very slowly on my metered Variac. And if it starts drawing anything severely... It's not really drawing anything. Let's put it about 50 volts. It must be on because it is drawing a little bit. I'm going to go over here and see if I see any filament. It's hard to see in here. I don't think there's a pilot light either. Alright, well, turn it up a little bit more. It's only drawing half an amp. That's about right. Well, here's the thing. The volume control's in my truck, and I'm not sure if it's turned up at all, so let me go get that. Let's try this again now that we have volume control. You know, we're not really drawing much. That's good. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's on the 0 to 2 amp scale. Alright. It's fine.
If you're looking for a fulfilling career with opportunities for job growth and want to earn up to $39 per hour within 3 years of starting, apply to become a VTA bus driver. Text VTA. Maybe look a little more than that, but get more handling over. Yeah. Career she would maintain while building her music credentials.
I'll be doggone. I'm not going to run it very long because I'm not sure what the electronic condition is, but the fact that it works is already a very good sign. We're off to the races. I've seen this dowel style before. I think it's a Southern California made radio. Might be made by the Gefilen brothers, based out of Los Angeles. I'm just saying that because I've seen this construction style before. And I'm hoping it's not what I think it might be, which is a set where you've got a shit ton of B+ voltage going to the volume control. But we'll find out. Alright, so do our little test here. I'm going to then touch ground. Good. Let me just make double sure here. Alright. Nothing at all. Good. So the radio's not going to be a dangerous shock hazard. That was a first for everything, and I gotta admit, I've never seen this before. Instead of getting a plug for the socket, they're just individually plugging pins into the socket. It must have been factory because it's got these... had to take that cover off, so I guess I'll need to mark these guys because the colors have faded. This has got to be the strangest radio I've ever worked on. It is so bizarre. I'm trying to figure out what all this is. I'm guessing that's probably the output transformer. That's a power transformer. And I don't understand what that's doing. Probably someone that's smarter than me would figure it out, but it's coming off of these electrolytics. There's no markings on it, so I have no clue who made this or where to find a schematic on it. I'm glad it worked, because if it didn't, and I didn't have a schematic, I'd be kind of a shit creek without a paddle. It's got all the original capacitors in it. This guy says it is 210 microfarads. I'm guessing the chassis must be ground on it. Got another one up here. It says 0.5 microfarads. I might just leave these guys alone. I do need to replace the electrolytics. And this one says 8 microfarads. It looks like there's two 8 microfarads stuck together. At least I need to figure out which one is positive. I'm hoping they're marked. Okay, it looks like they're marked on their ends. Okay, there's the positives. Positive, positive. So it's two 8 microfarad capacitors, and the ground is here. And it goes to this leg off of this power transformer. Then I lose the wire. It's all bundled up. It looks like we have another electrolytic here, and two of its... No, is that electrolytic, or is that just a paper cap? 0.25 microfarads. It's probably more the same. It's hard to tell without being able to take it off of there and look and see if it's marked, which it isn't. Let's take it easy on this guy. Replace one little bit at a time and test to make sure it still works. Alright, so what I'm going to do is replace these two 8 microfarad electrolytics with these two 10 microfarad caps. You can see how technology has improved. So what I'm going to do, since this has got a nice stiff connection here, and that makes a nice mounting point, I'm just going to put the negatives of the electrolytics, which is this stripe here, and get it as close as I can to the lead, so that it's not going to wiggle around, and then we'll detach these two positive leads and attach it to the positive of the new electrolytics. And then we're going to test it again to make sure the radio still works. Okay, so we got the two electrolytics replaced. So let's test it to make sure it still works. Okay, I've got these installed, so let's try it out. Okay, it's not really drawing much. Yeah, we're in good shape. Bring it up the rest of the way. 110 volts. Is it on? Oh, there we go. All right, so far so good. So I will disconnect it. By the way, if you're wondering what that weird noise is, you'll probably see this episode before you see this episode. It's my Zenith wind charger. It's very scary. People walk by and they're like, what is that? Okay, well, I'm going to replace these two paper caps here. I already took one of them out. Great big old fella. Anyway, I'm going to solder. Let's see, I just need to get to this line right here, and that's going there. So I'll just go from here to that ground right there. That'll be a lot better than instead of having it all watered up like that here. Okay, so I got the rest. There was not many things to replace in this guy. There's like 5 caps in here. I might test these guys just to make sure they're okay. Anyway, let me plug it back up again and see if it's still working. All right, it's still working.
semana a semana a sus clases individuales y algunas también a clases grupales.
Alright, so now that the electronics are more or less done, which is ridiculously simple, I'm going to work on the cabinet. It's not in great shape. I think it is the original finish. It is a weird oddball set, so I want to make sure and clean it up real well outside. Alright, so I'm going to go over this with Old English. I don't know what they put in it, but it sure works good. And it works good for doing things like removing these scratches. So I just put it on there pretty liberally. You can see, like, oh no, the scratches disappear. That's exactly what we want, and don't be afraid to use a whole bunch of it. What this does is it kind of does a lot of repairs on damages like UV, scratches, abrasions. But we'll probably go over this with car wax too, to make sure it's all sealed up and we get back the original sheen that it had from the factory, which it probably did. See, that already looks a lot better, so we'll just go over the whole thing with this stuff. Alright, well, you can see that made a big difference. Overall, the color came back, it's all evened up and everything, but we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to go over it with some car wax. I use old-fashioned car cleaning with car wax, and this drill-based mechanical buffer. And what that'll do is that'll bring back the shine, and it'll seal up the finish. Alright, so I got it all waxed and polished up, and it looks a heck of a lot better, I must say. Now the last thing I'm going to do before I conclude is I'm going to go and clean up the chassis a little bit. We've been having some discussions on whether or not we want to auction this or whether we want to keep it, because it is pretty unique. I've never seen one of these, and I've worked on hundreds of radios. So I'm going to clean this chassis up a little bit, oil everything up. Need to make sure anything that moves in here is going to get lubricated. Huge tuning condensers. No wonder it's sensitive. Alright, so I'm going to oil some of the bearings here. We got one right here. And we got one up here. And let's see. That absolutely turns as smooth as butter. That's good. Let me just kind of wipe this off a little bit. Looks like celluloid plastic of some sort. There we go. I can put this bad boy back into the cabinet and make sure it still works. Alright, well, I got it all done now, and it's turned on. And I got the speaker connected and everything. Let's see.
The steam as a result of what you're good at? From the public themselves.
That's something to think about next time you are approached outside the grocery store. Jim Taylor, KCBS.
Mayor London Breed plans to unveil a new command center in the heart of San Francisco aimed to fight the city's drug crisis. The Drug Market Agency coordinator.
We're supposed to be here. There's a bunch of reasons why, but, dude, it somehow sports me.
Off deadly drugs.
And that means enrolling them in medication-assisted treatments like buprenorphine and not turning people away.
Alright, well, it doesn't sound amazing, but a lot of these very early sets did not sound amazing. But it works well. I get a feeling the value is going to be in the strange, intriguing design. Again, I tried to look online to see if I could find any of these. Carlton, nothing. There's nothing that comes up about it. So I think it was some sort of generic brand that hired out someone like Geffen Brothers or something to make this for them. Because this, I've seen this thumb dial sort of thing in a lot of Southern California radios. I could be totally wrong. Also, this is not the right knob. Tomorrow, when I take it back to the museum, I'm going to find a period-appropriate knob, because that's a 1940s RCA knob, so that's not right. So I'll take the remnants of the old knob, which is here. Let's see if I can match it up. So I'll take that with me tomorrow. Anyway, this is kind of a short episode because there wasn't much to repair on this guy, and it cleaned up real nicely. But until the next time something comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys next time. Adios.